What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. So, the NBA released the all-rookie first and second teams. On the first team, it was Brandon Miller, Brandon Podziemski, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Chet Holmgren, and Victor Wembanyama. Don't have too many works with this. Obviously, Wembanyama, who ran away with Rookie of the Year, one of the best rookie years ever. It's going to be on there. Chet had a really good year. Obviously, didn't play at all in his rookie year because he was injured. He got hurt in the, what was it called? The Drew League, the little offseason league he was playing in. And then you had Jaquez had a very good year for the Miami Heat. Ray Miller had a really good year for the Hornets, and then Podziemski actually came out of nowhere for the Golden State Warriors. He stepped up this year for them. They obviously were very thin this year, depth-wise. So, not too many works with that. And the second team was Keontae George in Utah. Hugh Jackson the second, who's in Memphis. Derek Lively the second in Dallas. Amen Thompson in Houston. Casey Wells of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Again, don't have too many works with that. Sue Harrison didn't have a good year. Alstar Thompson in Detroit I don't think did enough. Cam Whitmore didn't play that many games. He was hurt here for Houston. So I think that was pretty fair. Hugh Jackson, got a lot more minutes than he thought because of all the injuries. Memphis had actually played pretty well with what he was given. Derek Lively showed a lot of potential. He played well this year. Amen Thompson was pretty good. Yes, that obviously still working on a 3-point shot, obviously, but overall played well with, what we were expecting. So overall, I think they got their all-rookie teams correct. The Edmonton Oilers last night defeat the Vancouver Canucks 3-2 in Game 7, and they advanced to the Western Conference Finals, eliminating the Vancouver Canucks. And they will face off against the Dallas Stars in the Western Conference Finals. I think Game 1 will be Thursday for them. They were down 3-2 going into Game 6. Of course, they win 5-1 in Game 6, and they come out in Game 7 and win 3-2. Vancouver, they struggled, especially for the first two periods. Edmonton was up 3-0 going in the third. With scores after the first, even though Edmonton was out shooting them 12-2, but then they get 3 goals in the second and were dominating. But then Vancouver pulled within a goal with a little under 5 minutes to go in the third period, but we're not able to finish off. The comeback, Edmonton hangs on. They win 3-2. They advance to Western Conference Finals. Vancouver's got to get better offensively. Look, they made this fun with their third-string goaltender, Arturas Shilovs. He played really well this year. Not having Dexter Demko, who was the best in the finalists, definitely hurt. But they averaged 21 shots per game in the playoffs. That's terrible. Also, you're facing a goalie who Stuart Skinner's been in and out of the lineup all series. He's historically bad in the playoffs. I think he's got one of the 4 worst save percentages of any goalie ever in the postseason, with the minimum amount of games played. And you're not testing him at all. They had maybe 18 or 20 shots against them. They had 2 shots in the first period. They, at one point, were getting out to 22-4. In the second period, they were down 2 or 3 goals. We ended up with 19 shots or something like that. That's bad. You gotta test that guy. He's not good in the playoffs. He's been, he's already been benched, and then they put him back in there. That's bad on Vancouver. They gotta get better offensively. Again, kudos to them for getting to Game 7 of the conference semifinals against a good Edmonton team. They put a solid Nashville team in the first round, who they took care of without too many issues. With a lot of injuries to their goaltending, and kudos to them for getting to Game 7 with their third-string goaltender, but if they had 20, they averaged 21 shots a game in the whole playoffs. Do you think they played what? Their series against went 6 games, something like that? I think it was in 6 or 5. Went 7 with Edmonton, was over 12 or 13 games, averaging 21 shots a game. That's bad. You gotta at least put 26, 27 shots a game up there. Come on. What are we doing here? You gotta be better than that, Vancouver. You gotta be better. Gotta get better offensively. Also, not having Brock Lesnar in Game 7 hurt. He's their best goal scorer. You probably were going to have him for the rest of the playoffs. That's a big loss. He had a block-out issue, but you had him for the entire playoff besides the one game, and you still were averaging 21 shots a game. That's just terrible. That's terrible. I don't have too much else today. Right now, it's not just, the playoffs, the NBA, and the NHL, and now we're at the point where, the semifinals and the conference finals, so not games every day anymore. It's you have 2-3 games any day anymore. So I'm just updating that. And then, obviously NFL OTAs are just starting. Baseball, it's it's the third week in May, so not a whole lot going on. We're not close enough to the trade deadline, the All-Star break, or to the to the pennant race to really anything too crazy going on. The crazy thing that happened was probably the whole Otani scandal. Apparently now the freaking interpreter he's like involved like someone from Real Housewives actor or actress. No, I don't know what's going on with that. Now apparently David Fletcher he used the guy that Mizuhara to bet on games. When he was on the Angels, he's now with the Braves. Like I don't understand what's going on with that. But I'm gonna start this NBA offseason series. I'm gonna go through each team's kind of like offseason outlook. Free agency starts June 30th. I figured I'm gonna do 2 teams today, and then probably do 1 team each day or so, assuming I do it 5 days a week for the next month or so. I did the math. I should be able to finish probably just in time for free agency to start. Free agency starts, you can start negotiating with players June 30th at 6 p.m. and starting July 1st or something like that, or July 5th or something, you can actually sign guys. The Game 7 of the finals will be June 23rd, so the finals won't end any later than June 23rd. So I figured, all right, I won't get to the final 4 teams. Well, I'm just going to wait till they're done. By the time I get to them, I think the finals will probably either be over or will probably already be over. So it works out. So I'm going to start from the bottom. I'm going to start with the Detroit Pistons. So they had a brutal year. They won just 14 match play games, 14-68. It's coming off a year they were 17-65. So this team is built really oddly to me. So you have 2 young guards, one in Kate Cunningham, who had a really good year, was here, averaged over 20 points a game, has a chance to be a really good player in this league. He's still only going to be 24 years old next year. Then you have another guy, he took him first overall 3 years ago. You took Jaden Ivey, 5th overall 2 years ago. Hasn't shown a whole lot. Obviously at first he got hurt to start this year. His rookie year, he flashed a little bit. Obviously he's playing on a really bad team. He's a rookie. He was only 20 years old. This year, so obviously still early, only his second year, he got hurt in the beginning of the year. Then he comes back, and Monty Williams wasn't playing him for some reason. He was held on the bench, which didn't make any sense whatsoever, especially considering how their roster is built. Good lord. I don't know what, Bojan Bogdanovic at 35, 36 can offer a team like the Detroit Pistons. Alec Burks, like, come on. Like, what are you doing before I traded those 2 guys to the Knicks? He came back, he was just kind of okay once he got in the starting lineup, so... But he's still young, 22 years old, so we'll see what happens with him. I like Jalen Duren. You took him 10th overall, 5 picks later after Ivy 2 years ago. He's turned into a really good play. He had a couple 20-20 games this year. But other than that, you have a 3, a wing in Alstar Thompson, who I think is a very good player. I think he's a good basketball player. Still really young, obviously. Only has played 1 season. He's only going to be 22 years old next year. He can score a little bit inside the 3-point line. He's a really good athlete, really good defender, but can't shoot the 3. And you have a bunch of bigs, but neither can stretch the floor, so you can't hide him. You have a guy like Isaiah Stewart, who he's okay. I think a decent backup center. He's got a serviceable 3-point shot, but that's about it. Obviously Duren's a very good player, but he also isn't going to stretch the floor. James Wiseman. Look, I'm trying to stay positive with James Wiseman. I loved him coming out of Memphis, but he was really raw. He didn't play a lot of college basketball. He was a superstar recruit coming out of high school. Memphis landed him, and then he got hurt. Then the whole scandal dropped that he was involved in it, and the NCAA suspended him for a while. And Wiseman's like, you know what? I'm going to be a top 3 pick anyway, possibly the first pick. I'm not going to come back. I'm just going to declare for the draft and sit out and, rest my body until the draft. So Golden State taking 2nd overall. Usually when a team, is as bad as Golden State was the year before, and they get the 2nd pick and you draft the kid, the team's really bad. They're 3 or 4 years away from winning, and the kid that they take is going to start and play 30 minutes a game for them and get a chance to make mistakes as they go. And hopefully improve as they go along. Golden State, it was really weird. The year prior, they were coming off a championship. But you had that one weird year where obviously the first year without Kevin Durant, you tore by injured Andre Iguodala. Stephen Curry was injured most of the year. Klay Thompson missed the entire season after he tore his ACL in the last game of the finals the year before. and Draymond missed a lot of injuries. So you're playing like a rookie Jordan Poole every night, in your starting lineup. So that team, going in, we knew it was going to regress without Kevin Durant, obviously. You don't have a talent like that, and you don't bring in anybody to replace him, you're going to regress a little bit. But on paper, still had a pretty good team that could probably make the playoffs, and obviously just everyone got hurt at the same time, kind of. So, kind of got a roll of deals. Ended up getting the second pick from the draft and going into the lottery. And you get James Wiseman, you think, oh, we'll get the chance to play on. Not necessarily, because you had Stephen Curry coming back, you had Klay Thompson coming back. He ended up missing half the year because he tore his Achilles, rehabbing the torn ACL. But besides the point, you had Draymond Green coming back. The team picked up some depth pieces like Gary Payton II, and obviously you still had Kevon Looney and all these other guys you had. Jordan Poole took a big step forward in the second season with Golden State Warriors. So you had you drafted Jonathan Kuminga most of the year before, so you had all these other guys. So Wiseman didn't really get a chance to play, which he really needed because he hadn't played a lot of basketball in a while. Then he got hurt. He kind of fell in the rotation, didn't play a lot of minutes in the playoffs. Then his second year late, he was injured the whole season. And a couple of years ago, Golden State started to age and they weren't as good, but he was still battling injury and still wasn't getting that too many minutes. And they finally traded him away to the Detroit Pistons. And last year, down the stretch, he played a little bit more and played pretty well. But this year didn't get a ton of minutes because Jalen Duren took a big step forward and Stewart played pretty well. And just poor coach by Monty Williams. He didn't get to play a lot of minutes. He didn't look good when he played. So, but the kid's still really young. He's going to be a restricted free agent. He's still only 23 years old. He's kind of falling into that Cam Reddish category to me, where it's like, all right, he showed a lot at the college level. He's got a chance to be a really good player. Was drafted high. Wasn't a little higher than Reddish, but still same deal. We're both lottery picks. We're drafted high by a team that, obviously they were drafting high for a reason, but, kind of odd circumstances. We all knew they were going to be much better than they were the year before because of, guys coming off injuries and the other guys they had brought in. So, they were going to be your typical lottery team drafting that high, and he didn't really get a chance to play, and then he got a fresh start somewhere else, and it didn't work somewhere else. And then Cam Reddish, goes to the Lakers, like, all right, finally he gets to show it, and then he does it. It's like, oh wait, he's actually not that good. Hold on. So Wiseman's kind of he's in that category. He was with Golden State, kind of got a role deal, didn't get a chance to play as much as he needed to. They shipped him off to a really bad Detroit team. They're all right, at least he'll get to play. Didn't really get that chance that we thought he was going to. When he did play, didn't look great. He's at the point like, all right, you're still 23 years old. I'll give you another shot, but you better show me something because otherwise you're going to be a massive bust. So I really think he should sign like the Washington Wizards or something like that. The Pistons will give him time to re-sign there, where he can just go out there and play 25, 30 minutes and really show his worth. Because out there, when he starts to show you something and he starts to develop, all right, you might have something. If he's going out there, he's averaging 6 points a game. He's shooting 20% from the field. He's not able to stop anybody. He's just a liability out there. Okay, he's a bust. Move on. So Detroit's built very, very weirdly to me, but they have a lot of young talent. Ivy's only 22. Cade Cunningham, who's turning into a really good player, is only 23. Alsar's only 22. Duren, who I really like, is only 21 years old. You get Quentin Grimes from the Knicks, who I don't think he's a player that I thought he was going to be. I liked him when I took him in the second round. 2 years ago, he flashed a little bit. Last year I thought had a good year. I thought had a potential breakout campaign coming. Didn't happen. Ended up getting benched early on. Never really caught on. A couple of good games here and there. Other than that, didn't really do anything. He ended up shipping him off to Detroit for the got the next Bogdan Bogdanovic and Burks. Didn't do a whole lot in Detroit either. But he is still 24 years old. You have a guy, Kidimoga South, is only 24. So this team's really, really, really young. Outside of Evan Fournier, who's 32 years old, has nothing left, and he's got a $19 million team option. I am assuming they're going to decline that. Oldest player on their team is 27 years old, and that was Chimenzi Matu, not exactly playing a whole lot of minutes. And he's got team option as well, worth $2.6 million. So if they decline him, the oldest player will be 25 years old. And that will be a couple of guys. They have Buddy Boeheim, who's on a 2-way contract, and then Stanley Amude, I've never even heard of. they pick up his option worth $2.1 million as well, and then Troy Brown, who's got a non-guaranteed for $4 million salary. He's not that good. And after him, your oldest player is 24, which is Quentin Grimes, who I'm sure will be at least in the rotation next year. So this team is really bad, but they're really, really young. They're very far away from winning. Obviously, they haven't had really much success since they won the championship with that all-time great defensive team over Kobe and Shaq in 2004. And they were mediocre for a while, and their team, they were like just going to get the 8th seed, not going to even win a single playoff game, and then they kind of bombed out. But then they started to just tear it all down. It's like, all right, at least they can rebuild, not just go 40-42 and get the 8th seed, get swept in the first round every year by whoever. But at some point, they got to show something. They had a couple of really bad years. 2 years ago, you win 17 games. You got shipped last year. You thought, all right, they'll go at least the top 3 pick, if not the first pick. You got Wembanyama coming out, a strong draft class. And then with the 5th pick, and then with Alsar Thompson. Now, this year, although it does, I thought because the draft class is pretty weak, but you had the worst record in the league. Again, you only won 14 basketball games. At one point, you lost like 28 games in a row. They're like 2-30 at one point or something like that. And you again get the 5th pick, so you kind of got screwed again in the lottery. And this, draft isn't that deep. So outside of David Klingon, the big guy at UConn, you got that guy Rasarchi, whatever his name is, the 6'10" forward from overseas. You got Rob Dillingham from Duke. Other than that, there really isn't a whole lot else out there right now. And then there's Alex Sarr from France, the big power forward. Out of that, there really isn't a whole lot out there. There's that, I think the guard forward from UConn who's pretty good. Apparently, he'll probably go in the top 10. This draft is very bad. I heard having the number 1 pick in this year's draft is equal to drafting like Tobias Harris, the first overall pick, like a guy who's like a decent scorer, decent defender, but at best a serviceable third option on a good team. So it doesn't really mean anything. I think we're going to see a lot of trades with those lottery picks. Memphis has not. I think they'll trade that pick. I can see Houston trading 3. Atlanta probably won't trade 1 because they're kind of tear down their roster. I think Dejounte Murray and Trey are both going to trade, possibly Capella as well. Only guys that might stay are probably DeAndre Hunter and Jalen Johnson because they're still very young. So they will, but everyone else, lottery pick is probably up for grabs. If you're Detroit, what do? You got to keep building through a draft. I like Cade Cunningham a lot. I like Jaden Ivey. I think you may have some potential in Jaden Ivey. You have some potential in Alsar Thompson, especially if he develops a 3-point shot. Other than that, there isn't much there, but to me, they need a stretch 4 badly because you have a wing in Thompson. A wing to his NBA who can't shoot is really out of the way, so it's going to be really tough to really do anything with that. So if they can get themselves honestly, if they can get that guy, what's his name, Zachary Rasarchi, whatever his name is, he's a power forward, like 6'10". He's a good athlete. He's a good shooter. To me, he kind of reminds me of Michael Porter Jr. a little bit. Kind of similar play styles, same kind of body type kind of thing. So if they can get a guy like him, that's probably the best they can do. Other than that, I'm not sure if we'll get him. I'm not sure if we'll. I'm not sure in what order you'll have him in. But Klingon, the big guy out of UConn, Rasarchi, whatever his name, I'm saying his name wrong. I apologize. Rob Dillingham and Alex Sarr. I think those are pretty clear the top 4 guys in this draft. Like last year, they would probably be maybe late lottery picks at best. But this draft is so weak. So they're at 5, unless you're moving up, which it really isn't worth it. Well, I think a team would definitely move down. I think if you called up Houston at 3 and said, we'll give you some extra picks, maybe a good player to move up 2 spots, they might do it. Houston like, sure, all right. But for Detroit, I don't think it's worth giving up the asset they would give up. Even if you only give up a future first next year, you give them you throw them Quentin Grimes or something like that. I don't know what they would do, or Isaiah Stewart or something. But it just isn't worth it in this draft. You're not going to really get. It's not that much more value from that pick from 5 to 3 in this draft. But keep building through the draft. I mean, they're kind of screwed. I mean, I know Trevor still GM. I know they're trying to bring in a president of basketball operations ahead of them. And if the president of basketball operations wants to fire Weaver, From what I've heard, they'll be allowed to, so he might lose his job. Heard Monty's coming back, but he needs to show the ability to develop a team a little bit better, or he's going to get canned. He didn't have 5 years left on his contract, which on that 6 years, $7 million ridiculous contract they gave him before the season, I think he would have a job already, but that's besides the point. But yeah, that's where they are. I mean, they have a crap ton of money to spend, and they're almost $90 million clear of that first apron. So, if they wanted to, they could probably go out there and sign 2 max free agents. They could probably go out there if they wanted to and sign. If they wanted to go out and sign Paul George, they're more than welcome to. Technically, nothing's stopping them. But it just wouldn't make any sense. So keep building them a draft year in a rebuild. K not be ready for an extension. I'm not sure, but the only free agents they have is James Wiseman, who's restricted free agent. If I'm not going to play him, I just let him go. Malachi Flynn, so the one random 50-point game where the Twix still lost the game somehow. He's not going to do anything. He's a bench warmer. And then Simon Plantasecchio, who I do think has some value as a 3-point shooter at the bench. He actually played better than I thought. He's a restricted free agent. He actually might get more money than people think. You think of what Tobias Harris is going to get? I don't think he'll get that much less than Tobias Harris, to be honest. Guy like that, so... But I mean, they have money to spend. They all these exceptions. They have a non-taxpayer mid-level, just 12.8 million. They have the full biannual exception, which is 4.6. They have a couple of trade exceptions. They have 10.8 million from the Burks trade. They have 1.3 from the Bagley trade. So they did use Daniel House, and then they have $800,000, which won't get you anything. From the Monte Morris trade, and they have $86.7 million, $8.7 million until the first apron, which is $178.6 million. Second apron is $189.4. They only have $91 million allocated to their players, and they're going to decline Fournier's option, I'm sure. That's a whole another $19 million coming free, so they can kind of do whatever they want, but it's hard to see them putting together a good basketball team next year. Next up is the Washington Wizards. And then we'll close this thing out. I don't really know what they're supposed to do. Also, that team's also really bad. They won, 15, 16 games here. They were really, really bad. Second worst team in the NBA. They ended up, they got a pretty high pick at least. At least they didn't get completely screwed. They ended up the second pick at least, and they also have a 26th pick. So they got Jordan Poole. I don't see it in him. He's an okay scorer, but not really a good shooter. His shot selection is beyond awful. Can't defend. He's an average bench scorer to me. That's about it. He's still 25, but his rookie year he was okay in Golden State. His second year Golden State, he played great as their 6th man. Got that big contract, but was not good. His last year in Golden State was not good with Washington this year. Conklin was the same thing. He's a little better. He's a decent athlete. He's a pretty good scorer, but not a great shooter, not a good defender. Again, he's a solid bench scorer to me. That's all he really is. But yeah, to me, those two guys are overrated to me. You have some young guys here. Denia V just 24, but he hasn't shown me a whole lot yet. You have Local Boy, didn't have a great rookie year, but he's still just 20 years old. Boy Kesper to me is a boss. He's 25. Johnny Davis has been horrible. They drafted him 10th overall 2 years ago. Team is atrocious. I mean, they're starting from scratch. Look at the free agents. The only key guy is really Ty Lawson. Not Ty Lawson. They're still paying him from years ago. Tyus Jones, who to me is a solid backup point guard, nothing else. He played well, when John got hurt a couple of years. Not hurt, was suspended for off the court stuff a couple of years ago, but he wasn't very good this year. But got a second pick. Also the 26th pick from the Bradley Beal trade. Also the 51st pick. They got all these trade exceptions. They have a non-taxpayer mid-level and the biannual. They have almost $40 million until the first apron. They can really, again, if the team has a lot of money to spend, they have the second pick. They also have the 26th pick. But this team's really, really bad. They're completely starting over, obviously. They got a new GM in his second year of the team. They still got to find a new coach. But first step, go out and get yourself a good coach. I actually think JJ Redick would be a nice fit there. I think he should start with a job like that. I don't think he should take the Lakers job because he's already got the pocket of LeBron. That would look really bad. You're yourself a good young coach, and you're yourself a good player. I know this draft class is really weak, but if you get a guy like, Donovan Clingan, at least this guy who should be a good player, give yourself something. I mean, they're pretty much starting from scratch again. Just build one piece at a time. Give a draft. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.